What is up, everybody? It's Lo, your host, and the full Vols ATB crew. Alex is back with us, and it is finally Florida Hate Week. It is Florida this Saturday in Neyland. We've been waiting literally what feels like years for this. Let's go around, and I want everyone to tell me one thing, and it's got to be somewhat dramatic. One thing that you would give up or do to ensure that the Vols win Saturday.
Sheesh. That's kind of like on the spot. Probably like a no call, no show. Probably like a no call, no show. Like I told my boss straight up, I was like, I know I asked off for Friday and Saturday, but you might as well, give me Sunday off because I'm not going to be able to physically recover in the span of a day if we come out with the win in this game. So I was like off rip. I just need that day extra. So I guess I'd be like skipping a day of work or calling out sick, saying I got sick or something.
Yeah, it would have to be sacrificing a family member. God. Call it dramatic, but hey, we've only beaten them once in the last 18 years. So anything that we can do to start off 1-0 in conference play, I would be more than willing to do it. So anything for the Vols and Heupel and company. So.
Honestly, what I would do is I would take a cheese grater to the bottom of my feet, and then I would walk through a mile of broken glass and salt. Right now, you told me to be dramatic, and I'm dramatic.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Bro, it's the first minute of the show.
Let's see. I'd be willing to go to Knox County Jail for a full week to pay for the sins of everyone. I'd be willing to do that. I think I could run a little Knoxville jail gang for a week and make it through.
Be on Scared Straight.
Yeah.
60 days in with Low. Yeah, Drew having technical difficulties. I would say just looking forward. I know we're going to talk about it later, but the environment was going to be crazy. Like, that's all I've been able to think about all week. 101,915. We saw it show up for Akron when we were at that game. It was crazy for a non-power 5 or whatever Akron's in. Just to see that many people show up and be loud throughout the second half too. Like, I'm just super excited, and I think the place is gonna be crazy. I hope we don't rush the field. Please don't do that. But the place is gonna be fucking rocking. Like, we're gonna have that place shaking. It's gonna be borderline dangerous.
I think it really is gonna be dangerous. Drew just casually.
This phone is like the biggest piece of shit of all time. Like, anytime that I exit out and have to answer a text message, it blows up my face when I try to come back in. So I have to exit out. It's a whole entire process. It's very frustrating. What was the question that was asked?
We were all just giving our answers about. I gave my answer. I don't know if you heard it.
Probably not. No.
I said I would be willing to go to jail in Knox County for a week to pay for the sins of everyone else in Knoxville on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually did hear that part, but
all right.
Good to hear.
I'll do that. Although Alex I know that Drew is going to commit a murder, but Alex's just sounds way more painful.
Yeah, Alex is doing it to himself. Drew is not, scared to do it to a Gator. Alex wants to cause himself.
I'm sorry.
You said to be dramatic. Pain from Alex's end is really. It's bold move. Not that I would ever do such a thing, but.
You're just gonna kill a loved one. That's fine. You know what? The bottom of my feet will grow back, but not a loved one. So you just take that, Drew.
Not guaranteed to grow back after all that trauma.
Wait, did you just call a Gator a loved one?
You're talking about using a cheese grater towards your feet. So, not to mention all the nasty bacteria and shit that's probably in broken glass. You're probably going to amputate both your feet.
Hey, that's
fine. So you're going to be like. What's his name from Forrest Gump? Lieutenant Dan. You'd be like Lieutenant Dan, pretty much.
I like how you're telling this to the one that's in med school.
Did we say give some or give our all? Okay, I'm gonna give my all. If that's my all, then I'm gonna give it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
We'll leave it at that.
Dramatic moves coming out of the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah, off the top.
Always takes a turn.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's been forever since we've all been together. It's crazy.
I know. You got to really feel for Alex, especially because the 2 times that he has been gone, we've had Trey Wallace and SDC Mike on. That's just
man,
tough.
Wait, tough. I do have big news though.
Okay,
what'd you do?
Speaking of school, I got my cap and gown stuff today.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
congratulations.
Got a little top hat and everything. So next Friday we get to play dress up and take pictures. But that's all I'm gonna say. That's what I've been paying good money for. So we're almost at the finish line.
Better be worth it.
Hey, it better be. That's $200K down the drain.
To talk about that was like crazy. Like the last time we were all together was Skybox, but like we've all been at the Ball State game, and then me and Lo were at the freaking Akron game in the same section. But the place was so packed and so full that like I looked for her all game and literally couldn't even see her in the same row as me. Like it was wild. That place was packed to the brim.
You could have caught me on the Jumbotron a few times.
Yo, I made it too. I was chilling. It was great.
That was fun. That section's great if you want to see yourself on the big screen. That's a good place to sit. So I guess Akron, you just brought it up. Yeah. We won obviously 63-6. Big stat. I'm going to run through a few stats. What I liked, no touchdowns allowed. And then I'm going to run through the quarterbacks. You know, Hooker, 14 of 18, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. Milton came in, though, and I thought he looked awesome. 4 of 5, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, highest QB rating of the 3. And then Taven Jackson, 2 for 2, 28 yards. The other thing I thought was interesting in this game that I wanted to bring up for us to talk about was that we had Wright for 23 carries, 96 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and Sampson for 8 carries, 57 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. So we had 4 rushing touchdowns on the day, which is very different in comparison to all of the offensive mind and scheme of last year. You know, it always seemed like we were going for the long ball, but now it seems like they're trying to really work into the run game. Do you guys think that we'll do that Saturday, or do you think this was just because of Akron?
No, I think it's definitely important. I know last week we talked about how we weren't really impressed with the run game. What we needed to see going into this week was, guys like Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, and Dylan Sampson get involved and see what you had in that backfield. And you saw them come out. I know it was Akron, but, they got into the end zone 4 times, like you said. Jalen Wright, I think that's, huge to see after he didn't have any pad work all offseason. And then finally seeing a guy like Dylan Sampson flash, and then Jerry Mack coming out and saying that I trust him to go out there on the big stage now after that performance and play against Florida. That's huge to see. Like we all knew the freshman had that kind of speed. This offense has always ran and made the big plays off of running. We saw the injuries. We don't know who's going to play. It sounds like the running back room's in full health. Still waiting to hear on Cedric Tillman. So if Cedric's out, that running game is going to have to be key. And I definitely think that's something important because when you saw what we were playing all game, I was looking up at that scoreboard, looking at South Florida and Florida. When I came back and got home and watched the tape, it was, Florida, their run defense, absolutely, painful to watch. Like a 3rd and 18 gap play where they just ran and converted it where they had no business of making that play. And when you take the Heupel offense and how they play in space with the running backs, I think we definitely saw some potential to kind of gap that. And that's definitely going to go into this week, like you said. But it was, great to see. I definitely, wanted Hooker to stay safe. The running backs got their plays, but Akron was one dirty hell of a team. Like we can't discuss that enough about what Akron was out there doing after they were down a couple of touchdowns. But all in all, not too detrimental in health. I think we can go out here and be fine next week. But it was a huge win, a huge, great piece to see.
Yeah, I think it was big that we were able to cover the spread. I think a lot of us were pretty much mind blown when we came out as a 50-point spread. And quite honestly, you could have argued that we should have been a 60-point favorite going into this game. But I think it was overall a good performance. Still though, I know that the running game has definitely improved compared to the last couple of weeks, but we're still only averaging 83 rushing yards a game. And that the run game is going to be detrimental. That's going to be the number one thing for us in order to beat Florida on Saturday, is that we have to find a way to take advantage of their god-awful rush defense. This is the same defense that allowed 286 yards to South Florida last Saturday. We got to find a way to be able to run the ball, find those open holes, and get good gainage and yards, because we can't rely completely on Hendon. We'll score points, but you got to mix it up a little bit. So overall, though, good win, number 11 in the AP poll, highest in 6 years. So if you told us, back in January of 2021, that in 18 months that we would be the number 11 team in the country and 10.5-point favorites against Florida at home, I would have called you a lunatic. So definitely in the right track. So can't complain too much.
Yeah, I'm just going to revisit what Brando just said about how Florida performed last week. They gave up like 150 some rushing yards to USF, and then here we are coming off our best rushing game of the season. Low, like you said, 238 yards rushing. We averaged 5.3 yards a carry. I think that's huge going into this game. So, again, I'm pulling for my boy Dylan Sampson. I just love him. I think he's going to be the next great running back at Tennessee, but he also had a really good game. But I think that just the way that shit's lining up right now, I think that we're set up very well to perform in this game. But yeah, just really good to see a good total performance on our side. The one thing I will say that I didn't like from this game was the 11 penalties that ended up giving us 118 yards. So we got to clean that up in this game because I think the only way that we lose is if we beat ourselves. I truly think that we have the better team versus Florida this year. So we have to clean up that just to prevent them from getting a chance. So just going forward, we got to clean that up. But the running game looks really good right now.
So I know that I put a call in on voluntary reaction after the game last Saturday, and a lot of people some people agreed with me, some people didn't. It is what it is. I'm not afraid for anyone to disagree with me by any means. But I was talking about Hooker and how I still was just not impressed. And I know that his numbers speak so much. And when you read the numbers, it looks phenomenal. And I'm not saying that he's not the guy. He's definitely QB1. What I'm saying is it is just so strange to me how different he looks from last season, and I'm not sure what it is. Like, is it a timing thing with him and the receivers? Are we just moving slower? Or what are we doing? What's the deal here?
Well, I think it's fair to, say that about Hendon because even Hendon himself has said that, I haven't been the best that I can be. And, I've left some plays out there on the field. You saw it in the first drive against Pitt. You saw it with, just, getting started. And, I thought we were going to score a lot quicker on Akron, but our first touchdown came in the 9-minute mark. So he definitely knows. Even Joey Housel, the quarterback coach, said, it's just like key things like footwork, staying focused, being poised for game time. Getting those jitters out, it's kind of been weird to see after last year how he got so hot to start off. But like now, how he's kind of getting set, scoring 63 points. I don't know how many were his. I think he scored, 42? He was involved with like 42 of those. So, seeing him, get involved still and that come out. It's weird. Last year, we were really good in the first quarter. And this year, like the second quarter is like where we get hot. We kind of like have involved. And then you see the second quarter is where that point differential is starting to come in. And I don't know if that's like a scheme thing for, fix it from last year, like how the point differential went for the rest of the game after that first quarter. But I think it's definitely, working in our favor. And if Hendon can get better and make every single play, he's already playing great, the number 2 overall quarterback in the SEC. If he can dial in even more on that deep ball with like Hyatt, like we saw this past week, that's going to be dangerous. And the statement of saying that we have the best wide receiver core and quarterback in the SEC, like it's becoming more true every week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just also as well, Heupel's opened up the offensive playbook way more this season than he did, from a year ago. And so I think it's just probably just more of just the timing, and because it seems like Hooker is like half a second faster than everyone else, just the way that he's throwing, like where he's putting the ball at. But I mean, to go back to that point that Brando made, I mean, the difference in the second quarter scoring has been phenomenal. I mean, last year, I believe I looked it up correctly, we only scored 101 points in the entire year in the second quarter. And this year alone, we've already scored 59. So, I mean, the difference is night and day. It's just the execution, those first couple of drives that they're still working on. But it seems like they're all getting a little bit more comfortable and what their roles are and where they need to be when it comes to the first couple of drives of the game. So, and I fingers crossed. But usually around that fourth game of the season is right when everything clicks, and Tennessee needs that desperately on Saturday. We got to start hot on Saturday. Like, we got to score in the first 2 drives. Like, we cannot wait until it's middle or late of the end of the first quarter. Like, we got to score immediately and keep up that steam. I think if we could do that, I don't know if there's a team in the country outside Georgia that could be able to stop us. I really, truly believe that.
Yeah, I think a big thing is that we were just spoiled last season because we were still coming off the JG era. And so it was refreshing to have a quarterback who didn't make those kinds of mistakes that he was making. So everything that Hendon did looked like just a blessing from God above himself. But like, Lo, I agree with you. there are times where I'm like looking at him and he'll overthrow receivers a couple times, and I'm like, you know what? Like last season you weren't doing that. But again, also like Brando said, and like Drew said as well, is like it takes a second, but then he settles in and he finds his rhythm, and then he definitely improves as the game goes on. So, Drew, you've touched on it. Starting fast is very important for this next game, so we don't really have time to make those mistakes this time. But again, I would rather have a quarterback who finds his way throughout the game versus starting hot and then cooling off and then giving a chance for a comeback later. So, he's still performing really well. Like you said, the numbers are there. Something does look a little bit different, but again, I think it's still early in the season and he'll find his way just like he has before now. So
great points, guys. That all of that makes a lot of sense. And I just want to make it clear that I'm certainly not shitting on Hendon Hooker. I have said
in no way, shape, or form.
In no way, shape, or form. I'm just
we
trying
don't do that on this show.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give an honest perspective of how I've felt watching the past 3 games, Do I think that he's done great? Yeah, it's just not the same. But, who's to say that that's even a bad thing? He's came out, he's led the team through these 3 wins. He was super resilient in the fourth quarter against Pitt. Like, all of these are very notable things that I think he's great for. I would just like to see us, start out hot and carry it all the way through, which I'm sure everyone else on the team, I'm sure that's what they plan for. It just doesn't always work that way. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, think about it too. If he thinks that he can perform better, and basically all of us as fans know that he can perform better, like we've seen a better version of himself. Look at what he's already done, not at his best. He's put up over 100 some points this season already. So if he gets better, I would be terrified if I was the rest of the conference, if I was the rest of the defensive coordinators that got a game plan against him, because if he's not at his best and he's still throwing 14 of 18 for almost 300 yards and 2 TDs and then also rushing for 2, I would be mortified. But good luck trying to stop him if he gets better.
That's a great point, Alex. I guess summing up Akron, because it was awesome. Knoxville was absolutely freaking packed. You would have never thought that we're playing this damn Akron team. 676 total yards on offense, 6 of 13 on third down, but 4 of 4 on fourth down, which I thought was interesting, and no turnovers. So I was really pleased with that, because against a shitty team like Akron, and whenever they are dirty as hell like they were, it's easy to just it's easy to let little mistakes like that rattle you, but they just kept going and took care of the football. So you can't complain at all about that performance. And they hit the over, so can't complain there.
Kind of want to touch on the playing dirty, and this was also a conversation that we've had in the last few days. Let's see. Bobby Ray 6 is asking if we think Tillman will play on Saturday.
I don't know. I think he's not. From what I've heard that Cedric Tillman is like a high to middle ankle sprain, that he could play this week. He could go. He could give you some valuable reps. But I think Tennessee's confident in their wide receiver room, and that's just to touch on how confident we've been the last few weeks, seeing McCoy, Jalen Hyatt, Walker Merrill, guys get into the end zone. I think this week, I don't think if he's not going to be able to be 100%, you don't need to risk it for the future of what the season's turning out to be. If you feel confident, go out there and win the game. Let him rest on the bye. We get ready for LSU, but I just don't see it. There's no reason to rush him, and it'll be all right. I think everything else on offense will be fine. Dylan Sampson, Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, but there's no reason to rush it if it's midway.
Yeah,
I
think from everything I've seen, it said that he's a highly questionable at the moment. One thing I think a lot of people are afraid of if they do put him back out there is that he redo that injury, and if he does, he's done for the year. Possibly even his career might take a turn for the worse, in that sense, as far as the stock goes. But we got so much talent at wide receiver, and it's like what I told you guys a couple of days ago. This is the most talented wide receiver room I think we've had in almost 10 years. There is no reason for us to risk him out there for a game that, with him or without him, we should win regardless. if it was Alabama or even LSU, like where we have that chance to go 2-0 in conference play and be a top 10, even potentially a top 5 team, then that's one thing. But guys, we're 10.5-point favorites against this team, and like, let's be real, Florida fucking sucks. Like, I mean, there's no other way to like say it. Like, with him or without him, Vols are cutting the spread. I mean, so don't put him out there. No need to risk it.
I just wanted to say
you are thinking they're covering the spread, really.
I really do. I mean, like, there's no reason for them not to. I mean,
Florida Hate Week, Drew, is a lot better than preseason, Drew. I'll say
well,
that.
you know, I got
coming around, baby.
I got to see Florida after 3 games, and what I realized is that they can't stop the run. They don't have a quarterback. Their offensive line is terrible, and they're depleted with injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's no reason for us to not at least cover the spread and drop at least 35 or 40 on them. I mean, there isn't.
Welcome to the dark side, baby.
I know. I hate it.
Dear God, I wanted to say, like, since we were talking about Akron playing dirty and wide receivers, our boy Jimmy Callaway taking care of business, getting it done.
Throwing the 1-2 combo, ain't he?
More than the 1-2, he threw the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on them, bro. So, I mean, just to be honest, he's suspended apparently for the first half of the Florida game, according to Jimmy Himes. I don't know if they play him. I don't know what hype will like. I think the first half is like common rule. I'm not sure if the team will discipline him even more. But if he is available for that Florida game, that's just another guy. Like if things do get deep, they can put out there on the field. I thought you saw like before that happened, he had a good like game, like 5-6 consecutive receptions. So, you know, Akron man, super dirty. A lot of plays. Hendon Hooker just tossing the ball off and getting hit 5 seconds later. Absolutely ridiculous. Trying to do like rolls and stuff, and like I've seen all the conspiracies about who told Akron to, you know, play for injuries or whatever. But this is a dirty team, man, and you know, to be 0-3 or 1-2 and an overtime win against St. Francis University, they just have it. Like they deserve it. So on to Florida.
Yeah, on to Florida. The hell with Akron.
All right. So let's go to Florida. So, God, they looked like absolute dog shit last Saturday.
Yeah.
What a beautiful sight.
They really – okay, so just a few stats. They almost lost to a horrific South Florida team, barely beating them 31-28 in the final minute. But South Florida almost took it to overtime with the tying field goal. It was fairly close. And South Florida held Anthony Richardson to 10 of 18 for 112 passing yards and 2 interceptions. That's no touchdowns, just 2 fucking interceptions. Total dog shit. And then 7 carries for 24 yards. If you stop this man, we are going to demolish Florida on Saturday. It's one singular dude. That's all you have to deal with. One dude.
I'll say it was crazy being at the Akron game and looking up at that scoreboard and being like, holy shit, like, is that real? Because you saw the Arkansas score in Central Arkansas, and then you saw Florida and South Florida, like, wait, what? Like, it's 31-28. Like, it was absolutely crazy. The whole place was buzzing about it. Anthony Richardson, if I told you that Joe Milton had more passing yards and touchdowns than him already as a backup, would you believe me? I don't think you would. But Anthony Richardson, 0 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Yeah, he's shined as a rushing guy against Utah early. Got stopped against Kentucky. They gave the blueprint. And South Florida, who has no business even beating Central Florida, goes into Gainesville, or was it? I don't even know where it was at. And yeah, in Gainesville, and almost beats the Florida Gators under the Billy Napier. Like absolutely crazy. I know.
Gators.
Yeah, dropped 24 on Florida, bro. Like I know they're down their best linebacker, and there's a true freshman starting there. But there's no way with the corner talent and the defensive line talent and having just normal SEC talent. I know they have depth problems way more, you know, as significant as we did 2 years ago. But there's no reason it should have even been close with South Florida. And like to talk about their run defense, about how they were getting gashed, it was crazy when I went back and watched it, like absolutely crazy. And like just seeing all the quotes about Florida not being confident in Anthony Richardson right now already when he's like their only option, saying that our quarterback room is already beat up and that, you know, Anthony's kind of lingering with, you know, he's been beat up against Kentucky and South Florida and he's, you know, throwing picks and gotten hit a lot because their offensive line is pretty bad too. It's just crazy to see like Billy Napier saying, yeah, we haven't let him play his best and run the football. We're not going to let him run the football because if we do when he gets hurt, our best, you know, option is a true freshman quarterback that, you know, we had to pick up late because our other quarterback decommitted in the 2022 class. And I just think that we saw what we did to Keaton Slovis and Patty against Pitt. If our edge rushers get back there, if our defensive backs get back there, if Aaron Beasley gets back there for Anthony Richardson, I know it's going to be a long freaking day for Anthony Richardson. I just don't think that he's going to have the nerve to run. I honestly don't even expect us to rush a lot. I think if you just play back and make him pass, he's going to make the mistakes himself. But I just think overall, what we're seeing from Florida, that Utah game was a pretty much a miracle in Gainesville at this point.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fluke more than anything else. But, Tennessee being 10-point favorites, guys, this is the largest point spread Tennessee has had on Florida in 25 years.
God.
25 years. The largest spread that we had prior to this week, was in 2002 when we were only 5.5-point favorites. And, of course, we wound up losing that game by, I believe, 4 touchdowns. But this Florida team, no one respects them, deservedly so. They're garbage, all right? True. I mean, their quarterback's awful. They have no offensive line. True. Their quarterback has about as many touchdowns as Queen Elizabeth, and she's been dead for 2 weeks, okay? True. So, I mean, there's no reason for us to lose this game. I mean, there really isn't. I mean,
Checker Nealon
averaging 141 yards a game, passing yards, only 134 rushing yards. Yeah, and a lot of that did come from the Utah game, but like I said, he got banged up from Kentucky. They still throw him out there because their second best option is a freshman quarterback that is playing with a fractured thumb. He's day to day. So I mean, they got no other option. I mean, guys, if Tyler, I mean, I'm afraid for the guy's health. I'm pretty sure Byron Young and Tyler Barron are going to tear this guy apart more than they did with Keaton Slovis. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
Even Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen even said it on a video today about how, even last year, he's like, I didn't throw Anthony Richardson out there a lot last year because he just kept getting banged up. The guy just gets injured. Like, I know Dan Mullen's not the Florida Gators coach anymore, but I think you would have, more respect for Anthony Richardson on the mic.
Exactly. And I mean, and you're talking about in their press conference this week, being completely smug about this game. Anthony Richardson, yeah, it'll just only be a little bit louder than the home games. I don't think it's going to be
playing in Canada.
I don't see this as a big game. The disrespect. I mean, my God, people, Saturday is going to be the rowdiest Neyland's been since the 90s. I believe it's going to be Ole Miss on steroids. It's going to put the Ole Miss game to shame last year. I really do believe that. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable, and there's no reason for us to not win by at least 15 or even 15 points or even 3 touchdowns. I really do believe that.
The stage is set.
I didn't want to cut you off, Alex, but just off of Drew's point, I think it will certainly be rowdier than the Ole Miss game because everyone was so fucking hammered by 7 o'clock.
That's true.
They didn't make it in, but 3:30, you got to kind of dial it back a little bit so you can make it inside. So I think that'll fare out better.
So here's the thing: is I missed the OU game back when we hosted them. I also missed the Ole Miss game last season, and so this is like one of the few times that I've got to see Neyland really, really rocking in a long time. So I've tried to explain it to people down here. Like one of my professors was like, "Oh, are you taking the class this weekend? Because we have an elective this weekend." And I was like, "Do you understand what's going on this weekend?" Right. I was like, "The Vols play Florida at home, and not only is it a sellout crowd, we've got Checker Nealon coming, we've got game day coming, we've got Barstool game day coming. We have 2 separate game days coming to this stuff."
And Josh
people was mad because game day wasn't going to Duke and Kansas. I don't know what the hell they're watching, but there's a top 20 matchup in East Tennessee, and that's what we really need to pay attention to. But like y'all have said, I think the funniest thing I've seen this week is that everybody on this show, plus the listeners combined, have thrown the same amount of touchdowns this season that Anthony Richardson has. And also, let me remind you that our backups threw less incompletions last game than Anthony Richardson has thrown picks this season. So what's it? Oh shoot, I forgot. Milton throws two incompletions, and Richardson's got 4 interceptions on the season. So again, we know how Florida always plays against us, how they always play their best game against us. But I truly think that this is different. And like it's been said with Tillman's health, I think Tillman is the difference between us winning by 24 to us winning by about 14. So I don't think there's anything getting between us and blowing Florida out of this game. Once the crowd gets behind us, I think Florida won't understand what to do. And I just want to run them off the field. We're not going to rush the field. Obviously, I don't think that is appropriate for this. But please come prepared to lose your voice and lose your hearing for the next few days because that's what I'm going to give. That's all I got to say.
Love it. That is so freaking accurate. All right. I agree with the Tillman thing too, because as a coach, there's just no way that we should force him to go out there. I mean, especially with the bye week. And even then, we still don't know how good he will be for LSU. I mean, this sprain, yeah, an ankle sprain you can get over in a couple weeks, sure, but I would rather have him on the back end of the season and make sure he's 100% healthy with our depth that we have in the locker room at wide receiver. So I agree with that. I don't think people should worry if or when he's going in or if he doesn't come in at all. I think that's for the better. But yeah,
I was gonna say like that's a great point I wanted to mention earlier is like a high ankle sprain, like low is like a shorter time span, but like that high ankle sprain of like being able to come back, like you see it in the NFL, you saw with like guys like Dalvin Cook, wide receivers in the NFL, it becomes a lingering thing. Like when you do it, like Drew said, like if you put him out there at risk, it's only a chance to get worse. Tennessee, we saw, with Cade Mays when that happened with him, you saw, him play through it, but he was banged up for half the season. You kind of wonder like what his full potential would have been like. Seeing him limp off the field. And I wouldn't want Cedric to go out there and like see him going through that pain when I know that extra week for like LSU can get him back to at least over 50 or 75%. Like they gave him like, I think VolQuest was like, it's 50-50 right now, but Tennessee feels confident. So if that's still the case, if he can be, 75, 85%, whatever for LSU, that's definitely the best case scenario 2 weeks from now. Just to see him go out there and ball. Like his jump ball is the way he makes plays and athleticism using his height and like his size. Like I want that to be at the full best case scenario. And if that week matters, then yeah. But I think this week's definitely key for guys like Brew McCoy, Jalen Hyatt that proved that last week wasn't a fluke. And, Jimmy Callaway and even Walker Merrill, like guys that are going to go out there. And you haven't even mentioned Joe Milton's 65-yard bomb to Ramel Keaton. Like those two guys were clicking late in second half. So, I feel confident in our wide receiver room, and I think they're going to go out there and make plays.
I mean, I was even going to say as well, like this is a fantastic opportunity for Ramil Keaton to finally show like what he's put in for the last 2.5, 3 years as far as the offseason goes. I mean, he's going to get plenty of reps on Saturday. I think Jalen Hyatt's going to still be our go-to wide receiver for a lot of these plays, and deservedly so. I think he's the best wide receiver we have right now so far. But we just have so much depth, man. Even with Squirrel White, Squirrel White played great last weekend as well, which was awesome to see. And so it's just comfortable knowing like that's the difference between like this team and like say like 3 years ago, with Pruitt, where it's like if Jawan Jennings or Callaway went out, like we were fucked, like completely fucked. And like now it's like we got 3, 4, 5 wide receivers that we can rotate and still play at a high efficient level of this offense. So huge game. Go ahead, Brando.
I was going to say one thing I want to see, though, was like the penalties we were talking about earlier, like the past 2 weeks against Pitt and, Akron on Brew McCoy, just for being physical and like better than somebody and being able to make that play, like the offensive pass interference. Like I want to see this week, Brew be able to go out there and manhandle somebody in the 15 jersey, like it's, against Florida in the past when we saw that number 15, Jawan Jennings, and make a play. But, the penalties on him, like, I feel like that's a disadvantage for his size. And, like, the play advantage has been, like, straight off the line of scrimmage. It's not like he's going out there and doing nothing. Like, it's not like he's going out there and not making a play. Like, he's playing to the rules. I want to see that get fixed. And I think even though Hyatt's the main guy and he had a career game last week, I want to see a guy like Brew McCoy get more than 5 catches or more than 4 for 37 yards. I want to see him get involved, a few touchdowns, a deep ball here and there like we saw against Pitt. That's going to be key. But, I want to see like us play physical off the line on that outside if Tillman is out.
Definitely. I think we got a good setup here. So as we discussed earlier a little bit, Tennessee is now set at a 10.5 point favorite. The over-under is set at 62.5. And let's go around and see, 1, does Tennessee cover? And 2, over or under? You have to pick one.
I'm not really good at math, but I've had the same score prediction all week, and it's been 38-21 Tennessee. I just think Tennessee wins by more than 10.5. I even have us winning by 17. Maybe a field goal here and there by Chase McGrath. I know he missed one last week. I want to see him redeem one this week. Be another big field goal like in the Pitt game. I think Tennessee, I don't know what that is. Let's see. What did I say, 38-21? And the spread is what? 62. Yeah, so I'm going to say 59 points. I'm going to take the under, I guess. So I definitely see it being a high-scoring game, not over 60 points, though. The Florida offense, if they were that bad last week and they were that bad against Kentucky in Gainesville, I just wonder what they're going to do coming in here with 101-9-15, Anthony Richardson's first real Rose Bowl game, away game, and then Billy Napier, his first away game as a head coach too. That guy, he's been making all the quotes and bulletin board material, but I don't think he knows what he's getting into. I think Lane Kiffin last year, talking about the Ole Miss game, like he kind of knew the idea of what he was getting into, but Billy Napier, like all this stuff and how we're crazy and craving this win this year, it's going to be wild in there. So I think the crowd's definitely going to have effect. I think Tennessee wins this by more than 2 scores. So
I think it all depends if linebacker Ventrell Miller for Florida, if he plays or not. Billy Napier said today that he's a game time decision. He was out since early in the Kentucky game, and honestly, like that defense is like a complete night and day difference with him on there, in the sense that he is like the core leader of that, like the entire defense. He's everywhere on the field. If he's not out there and they don't wind up playing him, from what sounds like, he may describe like it was a subjective injury that he'll go out there when he feels like it, which I think if is the case, he's going to wind up playing this game. If he doesn't, I got the Vols 42-20 win this game, and Florida will get a late touchdown in the fourth quarter to bring it up to 20, still under regardless. If he does play, 38-24 Tennessee, regardless we're covering the spread.
Lo, what did you say the over-under was again? I'm sorry.
62.5.
62.5. Okay. From my prediction earlier in the season when we had the live show, I went 35-24. I'm going to stay around there. I think it may go up to 38-24. I think we may get a field goal somewhere else. But again, I think Brent or Drew, you hit the nail on the head with Ventrell Miller. Depending on whether he's out there or not, will determine how well Florida lines up on defense and can try to stop us. I actually saw something else too the other day. Is what was it? Number 21, one of their big defensive tackles or defensive ends, the big boy who threw the dude from USF down. I was like, how many cramps do you think he throws this Saturday?
All of them.
Just something funny. But I think Florida will try to pull out all the stops and all the gimmicks like that to try to slow us down because they know that they can't hang with us. But I think we cover the spread, but we stay under the over-under. So I say 35-24, 38-24, somewhere around there.
All right. I would just like to say, I don't know if anyone forgot, but South fucking Florida put up 20 on this team. Okay? Let us please not forget that. I think someone lost something here.
38 is pretty good.
I'm going with – I feel like this game's going to be a little bit weird. I can see Anthony Richardson having a better game than he's had the past couple games. Like, I don't think he's just going to be as atrocious as he's been. He's probably going to turn it around a little bit, and we will get caught off guard a little bit. So I'm going to go 45-27, and I'm going to take the over.
Hey, I do have something to say, though. The person who has the most to lose in this game would be Drew. Because he did via our live show on record pick Florida to beat us. So, Drew, technically you have the most to lose this weekend. Granted,
I mean, like I told you, it's a win-win regardless with that
true,
loss.
that's what I was about to say.
Because if we lose, then I'm right. But if we win, who gives a fuck? The Vols won.
Exactly.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. Who cares?
Who gives a fuck? Whenever you go on a date with that doll.
Exactly. If you're correct, then
skybox, we'll do karaoke night. It'll be a great time. So.
If you're correct, then me, Brando, and Lo go down together. But if you're wrong, your team wins. And you get to experience a great atmosphere of what Neyland's about to put on.
I'm in a win-win regardless, because if we lose and I picked us to win, then I'm going to be pissed off for the rest of the night. But it's
Powell pissed off. What is it? What's the rest of
it?
Alcoa angry.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point out before we move on, Ventrell Miller, the star linebacker, he was back, running on a treadmill today via his Instagram story. Obviously, that really doesn't mean anything, but if he's running on that hurt knee, he's trying to get back as quick as he can. I don't know how much that'll contribute to Saturday, but even then, man, like this Florida team's bad. Like they're bad. That defense is bad, and I think the big plays are going to come whether it's in the inside, across the middle, like we saw South Florida do all last week, or if it's in the running game, seeing guys like Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson, star their name inside the game. But I just think that's going to be a key point. Seeing if he plays, I still think Tennessee, covers the points of the spread. But also to point out that crazy clip that went around of that, lineman, there's no way that man plays more than 15 snaps. I looked it up. That man is 415, bro.
He cramping early first quarter. First drive, he might cramp.
So he might get like a 15, 20 plays like he's a Jordan Davis prototype. But that man, I just don't see – if you don't run the ball to him, like he's not going to have an impact. And, like, there's just no way.
I mean, dude, like Hendon Hooker would basically just have to walk away from him. He would be already getting at that point. So.
Hey, if Hooker makes a cut, then he's cramping. I promise you. He go look to Coach Napier, be like, "Oh yeah, my leg," and then just grab it and fall.
Did y'all see the tweet from Billy Napier, the quote on him, where he was talking about how do you game plan, go on a tempo, like with your game plan? He's like, well, there has to be some kind of strategy around it. Obviously, if you run a tempo or playing against tempo, you have to control your offense to play with that speed or keep up kind of thing. And to hear the word strategy, like the first thing that went to my mind was the cramps. Like I definitely think that if they can't keep up, like Florida is definitely the type of team. Like let's be honest, that program is going to go out and do it. But
grab your leg and fall. That's all you got to do.
I think it's key to have. I think it's key, like we talk about the 2-point difference this year. We need that first quarter buzz this year, like against Florida. If we go out there and put 21 up straight up against this trash team, like I just don't see no way Anthony Richardson's going to have, one, the confidence, or two, the ability in general to come back from that, that much down on his feet with no talent around him. I just don't see it possible. But you just got to start off early, hit him in the mouth, treat Florida like they're Florida. I know Juice Davis is probably somewhere hype right now, going crazy. And I almost wore my Gator Killer shirt. I have it somewhere, but I'm definitely rocking it this Saturday for my white section. I'm in a white section this week. So.
God, me too. I hate being in the freaking white section. It pisses me.
Sucks.
I want to point out, I'm sorry, like, interrupting. I went to 6 stores yesterday to see a white shirt. I went to Walmart, Target, and I ended up having to go all the way to Kohl's to get a freaking white Tennessee shirt because no one had one, and I didn't trust the Vols shop to get it to me by Friday. So I was like, I'm not risking it. Bro, it took me 3 hours to find a white Tennessee shirt.
The other option you had was that you could have just went to the Vols shop on Friday in person and bought yourself a white shirt.
I don't know if you know, but I went for Akron. I went to the Akron game for the Vols shop, brother. It was I couldn't even get to the bathroom. I didn't even go in the shop. I wanted to go to the bathroom. It took me 35 minutes. Like, it was terrible. The line was outside the store.
It was out of control. All of the Vols shops were like the lines. When I went to do the Tennessee tailgate, my mom went to the Vols shop up the road, and the line was around the store and outside of the building to purchase something for Akron.
I can't imagine what this
you guys have to go to the one right next to Fieldhouse Social. That is the better one. They got a more variety and less lines. It's highly recommended.
I'll say the ticket, getting inside. For being a sold-out game, the getting inside, I know, like me and Drew complained about it last week. Getting inside was much easier this week for me, at least, and that was great to see. I know with the whole electronic thing, I already got my tickets downloaded for Florida, so hopefully, like, we all get in there, man. I think, like, I know Trey Wallace tweeted out there's like a 2,500 ticket allotment for Florida fans, and I don't know if it's gonna be upper deck or bottom deck, but I just hope we give them hell, like, respectfully, treat them like they're Florida.
Absolutely. So, do we have anyone else joining us now?
Supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, we had a few in queue if y'all wanted to go ahead and
we have Drew's friend. Drew, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, this was the guy. Him and I first started off a podcast about 3 or 4 years ago, just rambling on about random college athletics and NFL stuff and everything. One of the very first people I met when I lived in Prague. 6-7 years ago. One of my best buddies. He's actually having his first ever Neyland Stadium experience this Saturday for the Florida game. So he's more than hyped up about it. So yeah, his name is Dan. Get him on here. He'll love to talk shit to you guys. So let's have that, Dan.
The first ever Vols ATB live caller, Dan. What is up, my guy?
Hey, it's good to be here. I'm coming from you live from Philadelphia right now. I'm going to be down in Knoxville in 2 days.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait.
I mean, of course, you had a fucking LeBron as a goat on your damn.
Yes, sir. Come on,
Right.
man. Speak the truth.
I mean, if you're gonna be rocking with my man Drew, I know you're about to have a hell of a time.
Drew is a clown. Drew's a clown. You know, he is Skip Bayless in his LeBron hatred. You know.
I mean, if you haven't heard him, Dan, I don't know if you've heard him on our show in the past.
He knows his SEC football, though. I'll give him that. He knows his SEC football. He knows his football.
Dan, the past 6 weeks, Drew's been on this show, claiming that a loss for Florida, even at the live show at Skybox Bar and Grill. I want to get your opinion on the Florida game coming in. I know it's your first Neyland experience, probably. What are you expecting? Like, I know, obviously, how do you see it matching up? Are you going to be one of those wild guys in the stands?
I'm going to be one of. Well, I even brought orange paint with me, as Drew will attest to. But I tested it and it doesn't come off very easily, so I decided not to use it. So I'm throwing it in the bin. I look like a British carrot, so I'm not wearing the orange paint.
Obviously,
I'm looking forward to a big SEC rivalry like this. I'm looking forward. The Vols should win easily. If you don't, I'll be really surprised. Anthony Richardson, he hasn't thrown a passing TD. Come on.
I know he's done about as good of a job at quarterback as your queen, who's 6 feet under, dude. I mean,
oh my god!
Oh, wow!
Woo.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god!
That is, what?
If we're going to talk about disgusting things, let's talk about the Florida Gators. Obviously, this week it's going to be wild. I think last year was crazy when we all went to Ole Miss and saw what happened there with all the calls and, the intentional, injuries and just getting the crowd riled up. This week, I think it's just pure hatred and pure bliss of the last 14 years of what's been going on against Florida. And it's going to be a lot of, anger exited out. The stage is completely set. Peter's calling you rude in the comments, Drew, for talking about his queen like that. But I think overall, man, like all the hype is crazy. You would never see national media be so confident in a Tennessee pick against Florida in decades. And long live the queen. But I hope you have a great time here, Dan. It's going to be a great memory for sure, man. First Florida game, W.
I'm really looking forward to it. I hope to meet you all. And obviously, go Vols.
Hey, man, I love your fucking accent.
That's all you need to hear.
Great.
Vols. Love the accent. I hope I get to hear it in person.
You will. I'll be. I'm there all week. I'm there all week for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there at Hops and Hollers with me on Friday night.
That's right.
Going,
bro. We're gonna get this man fucked up on some moonshine.
He left? Oh, dang! I thought we all had questions for Dan.
Hey, he said I'll be here all week, but not right now.
No, man, he got us out of here. Drew, man, the queen, really?
I mean, okay, I have my beliefs on the queen and all those things. Not that I would ever dispute that on the show.
Hear me out.
Her body ain't even.
Are you one of those guys that think like she was long gone before the announcement came?
Well, yeah, like, dude, I mean, she was walking dead. So, I mean, who cares? She's dead. I mean, like, did we not fight a war over these people to like not be rolled on it? I mean, like, this is getting ridiculous. All right, who's the next caller?
Moving on.
Oh my fucking god! Oh no.
Who do we got?
Okay.
We got
next. We got the man, the myth, the legend, the man that traveled all the way to Skybox Bar and Grill to see us all with Haley. The overall Vols ATB GOAT, Mr. Stone Cold's Vol 98.
What's going on, guys?
What is up?
I gotta grab my beer real quick. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So
sorry about that. Sorry.
Coming in with
that's
great
love
passion.
right there. That's love right there.
Oh,
Oh, we're talking about the flag. That's on me. Sorry. I actually got it from the ATB store, so you guys go get your Let's Go Brando flags.
Let's go, Brand. Oh my god, I just peeped that. Nah, you're fucking crazy, dude. What the fuck? Nah, you're different for that,
Wow.
brother. Hold up. Move your head real quick. I need a screenshot. Thank you. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
that's fucking crazy. Obviously, I haven't seen you since the Vols ATB live show at Skybox Bar and Grill with Juice, but huge week coming ahead. I know you're heading into town. Gonna be a crazy game possibility. So, bro, how you doing? And what do you expect this week?
Man, I'm chilling. It's gonna be a big week. Sadly, I will not be in Knoxville. I got to go out to. Yeah, that's on me. I got to go out to Dyersburg for my grandpa's birthday. So I mean, I guess I can't.
That's fair.
Exactly, but who cares about a birthday when you're 75?
You've had it.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This line scares me at 10.5. You know, I know it's Florida. They're coming into Knoxville and they're probably going to give us a run for our money. With that being said, though, I think Hendon Hooker has a breakout game. We actually cover, and I'll take the over on that as well. Tennessee wins 45-24.
Oh, there it is. Very similar to my school. I like it.
Okay, that's a great question I wanted to ask y'all. Do y'all think if Hendon Hooker has a breakout game against Florida, does that automatically mark it as his best game as a Tennessee Vol?
Oh, easily. I mean, there's no other performance I can maybe think of. Maybe the only one that could be would be as good as this Kentucky one last year. But dude, I mean, to literally be in the same cat. I mean, he would be the only other quarterbacks since 2000 that has beaten Florida was Casey Clausen, Eric Ainge, and Josh Dobbs. To be in that type of category and spoken of within those same groups of people, he would be he'll instantly be a Vol legend. I mean, he already is, but it would solidify his status with a dominating win over Florida, or even a win over Florida for that matter.
Facts. I agree with that.
There's no way around it. And I mean, what better way to rally everyone, Knoxville and your whole team behind you, and then take a bye week before rolling into LSU. Like, if they win this weekend, they'll be ranked top 10 in the country. They get a bye week to fix whatever they need to fix, and then they roll into LSU with a solid chance to win. This game is everything for Hendon, I think.
Not only for Hendon, but man, the future of this program. Like, I know we haven't touched on recruiting in a while, but this weekend is absolutely huge. You have most of the Vol commits. You have a newly ranked 5-star defensive lineman, David Hobbs, who's coming to Tennessee with his final two being Alabama and Tennessee, most believe, with Tennessee probably having a slight lead. You also have different guys just coming in. It's going to be absolutely crazy. All the rumors, coming up. Top 10 class already with the bumps for Nathan Leacock and Tyree Weathersby. But, just looking forward for the 2024 class, 2025 class, that student section part is going to be packed. Every single seat for this game, without a doubt is going to be filled. And the experience for the future of this game to talk about, being a program changer or looking for the future, like, there's no doubt that if you beat Florida in year 2 under Josh Heupel and, continue the trend, and obviously there's the rest of the season, like we saw Butch beat Florida and then fall flat on his face. But, man, like, if you can continue that trend and, like, everything that's going on with the pay raise and all the good news, like, there's been nothing but good stuff. And if Tennessee continues that, man, like, they're definitely destined to get into that top stage of college football and be one of the top teams, man. Top 10 going into week 5, that would be absolutely crazy. If you would have told me 2 years ago after we fired Jeremy Pruitt that we would have a guy with a high-tempo offense and be doubling our offensive average score and, averaging 52 points this year so far, that would be absolutely insane. Like, I'd call you stupid. And to say that we're a 10-point favorite against Florida, like, without a doubt, everyone thinks that we're going to go in here and win this game. It's different, man. So, all in all, it's just wild.
Hey, I got a question for everybody. We'll start with Stone Cold, but I kind of want to go around the room. We've given our predictions for the UF game, but now I kind of want to hear player of the game predictions. So Stone Cold, if you want to start with that, if you're ready to answer that, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go with a good Jeremy Banks here. I think Jeremy Banks absolutely goes off this game. Racks up a bunch of tackles, gets a couple sacks in there, might even get a pick. Anthony Richardson, like you guys said earlier, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Like, that's just terrible. This guy's not a good quarterback, not a Heisman contender. Jeremy Banks going to go off. I know I said it's going to be a Hendon Hooker breakout game, but Jeremy Banks is going to set this defense solid, and he's going to get the job done.
Warren Burrell will get his first interception.
He's not playing.
Not surprised.
Okay, he has a lingering injury, Drew. Why would you not be surprised? Are you trying to diss the man's performance on the field? Are you trying to diss Warren Burrell's performance?
Are you trying to call out players by name, Drew?
I mean, I was kind of
Warren Burrell is dealing with an injury in his shoulder of a previous injury, and you're over here talking about his performance?
You're sick.
For 3 weeks. I mean, this is absurd. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Drew, Warren Burrell is the face of this franchise, all right? I don't want to hear no slander toward this man's name.
Okay, Drew, before we go into a downward spiral on the Florida Hate League show, who is your legit pick?
Okay, realistically, probably Jalen Hyatt. I think this is a game that Jalen Hyatt will really go off and be able to get 150 yards and a couple touchdowns. I think it's going to be a very similar stat line that he had from last Saturday. And then from defensively, I would see Byron Young getting at least 2 sacks and 3 tackle for losses in this game.
Okay. For mine, I'm going to say offensively, I definitely think it's I'm going to agree with Drew for once, actually, and it's going to be Jalen Hyatt. Just because, like, we saw with the Pitt game, like, when the run game wasn't going, you saw the quick passes Jalen Hyatt on the outside against Akron. You saw him finally go deep with Jalen Hyatt that we haven't seen since his freshman year when JG was at quarterback. So to see them hit that deep ball and to see his speed finally, break away, that's going to be huge for me offensively with, especially if Cedric Tillman isn't good to go. The big plays or the short plays overall, I think he's going to be getting this offense moving at the receiver core just with Brew kind of, still learning things. It's going to open up opportunities also for Brew. I guess for defensively, I'm going to take Jawan Mitchell just because this week was his first week back, right? It was his first week back, and realistically, it was a year off of, like, football in general. The man had an impressive game. He showed out very little rust, was out there, getting pressure, involved in a lot of plays early. I just think that they said mentally he's bought in. I think this game would be a huge game to prove it as a sleeper. Drew's over here shaking his head. But, linebackers have to start, man. If you got that depth at linebacker after all offseason, we talked about how we were scared of linebackers and safety play, right? You have Jeremy Banks, Aaron Beasley, who showed out, Jawan Mitchell's back, and then you have true freshman Elijah Herring, who had 2 sacks against Akron. Like, it's looking a lot better than it did, preseason. So I would love to see, Jawan get involved after being out for those 2 games. So,
I mean, Jawan hasn't played a game a year, and Aaron Beasley is definitely, I would argue, the best linebacker that has played for us so far. Yeah. Played way better than Jeremy Banks. Guys, if he came on the field, that'd be great, but I'm not really worried about that. Let's just hope our DBs can get the job done.
So my picks, I'm going to agree with Stone Cold. Banks has had the ball tip his hands multiple times this season, has never got it done. I think he's hungry for a huge game. So I'm going to pick Banks on the defensive side. Offensively, I'm going to switch it up from y'all. I'm going to say that Hendon and Brew finally get their timing down. I'm going to pick Brew McCoy. He's physical enough. He has the opportunity to just demolish these dudes out here if they can get their timing right. And I think that they've probably been working on that a lot, considering it's been off for the past couple weeks, or not ideal. So those are my 2 picks, offensively and defensively. And I just can't stop thinking about Saturday.
Hey, that's honestly what's been on my mind all week is like, dang, is it Saturday yet? But y'all took mine with Jalen Hyatt. So I'm going to go with what we were talking about earlier in the show, and I'm going to say it's either small or right. I think since Florida has shown that they have a very poor rush defense, that Jabari Small gets back on track and Jalen Wright keeps doing what he's been doing. So I think they both collectively have a really good game, probably rush together for somewhere over 150 yards and a couple scores themselves. Defensively, I also wanted to go with a linebacker, but I'm going to take a defensive end. I'm going to say either Byron Young or Tyler Barron. I think Tyler Barron reminds us why he was a highly rated recruit coming out of high school and shows us flashes of what he has been doing. And if you remember, the last time we beat Florida, there was another number 9 defensive lineman who tore him up, and Derek Barnett. So maybe this is Tyler Barron's time to remind y'all that he is talented and he's got the ability to make some create some havoc in the backfield. As we said, that Florida has a Swiss offensive line, so hopefully he gets after it and causes Anthony Richardson more problems. So y'all took mine, but I'm gonna go with that way. So a little bit of
comparison right there. That's a bold move comparing Tyler Barron to the greatest defensive end in Tennessee.
Hey, he might. We never know.
All right.
Hope you're right.
So, Stone, anything else that you want to say before we wrap it up and get out of here for Florida Hate Week?
Well, I want to say one thing, Brando. You brought the Jimmy Callaway situation up, man.
Oh man.
And listen, I'll tell you, I will throw Jimmy Callaway up there with Zach Wilson. Jimmy Callaway has that dog in him, and he is going to go off and have 4 catches, 5 yards, and a touchdown. I'm telling you, he's coming. But yeah, he's going to be.
Stone Cold, you're losing.
Yeah. Stone Cold, your performance has been so good that your internet said no, sir. I guess. Yeah. 1, W flag, absolutely beautiful. Love the design. 2, I think, like Lois said 5 minutes ago, all I'm thinking about is Florida. Haven't been able to work straight. One more work day for all of us tomorrow. I'll be there Friday night. Get ready for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. It's absolutely crazy. Like, the environment's stupid. We've hyped it up all season, not knowing that, like, not expecting to probably be like 3-0. I mean, we probably did, but like to see it on the field and how it's happened and like how confident we are going into a Florida game, like it's different. It's a good different. And I'm not going to believe the battered ball syndrome. I'm going to go into this week confident, be happy with like all the people around me, 101,915. And let's go fucking kick Florida's ass. Like, let's go out there and win by 2 scores. Let's go win the game. Let's come back here next Wednesday talking about being 4-0. And, it's fuck Florida. Florida Hate Week. So,
I mean, guys, at the end of the day, if we just have fun, that's all that matters, right?
Champions alive, dang it. Champions
brick
alive.
by brick, baby.
Right. Win or lose, let's just have fun, guys.
Absolutely not. Get out of here with that
shit. Kick him out.
Oh, my God.
Nah, fuck Florida. That whole entire state can flood and go to hell. So.
Oh, my God. That's even worse. What the fuck?
You're goated. So.
Except for Miami. I got to make it back. But anyway, I know we've been a couple of us have been drinking on the show tonight. But what we need to be doing is we need to be prepping. We need to be drinking some water. We need to be drinking some Gatorade. We need to be drinking some Pedialyte.
Powerade.
Make sure you got your Powerade. I don't give a dang.
Make sure drinking Gatorade is full.
Your ibuprofen, your IB playing, and your IB cheering, because that's what we can be doing on Saturday. So just make sure we take care of ourselves, because there is a monumental game on Saturday that we got to be ready for. Got to give our all. 3:30 at CBS. It doesn't matter. We showing up at like 10:30, 11:30.
Nah.
And we're going to do the dang thing.
I love it. My final rant is I better not hear one fucking complaint about anyone standing.
Thank you. Thank you.
No matter
what, if you in the wheelchair.
95 years old, your ass better be standing up, or you should have.
The last time in your life, like you better get.
If you're the Queen of England, you better be standing. That's all I'm saying.
The Queen of England will be standing up.
No, I don't want her.
True,
I can't believe you said that to your friend, bro. Like that's just.
I know him like that. So
me.
it's all good.
That's a companion.
That's like a freaking person from the UK talking about Kobe Bryant. Like,
well, he knows my belief system, my thoughts on the royal family. So, like, it was expected. I mean, he gets way worse shit about folks from Tennessee. So he's not acting offended at all.
Before we go, I just wanted to say I have my college game day sign. I'm gonna be there bright and early. I just wanted to mention this on the show. It's gonna be throw mustard, not a cleat. Thoughts?
Throw mustard,
not the cleat.
I'm actually really disappointed you. You really should be promoting the podcast, Brando. So, like, where's the
we didn't just have 78 live viewers in the show tonight. Like, you think we're not doing?
Just put the Vols ATB logo in the corner. We'd be good.
Hey,
yeah,
I got you.
But a QR code or something.
A QR.
Spotify.
Yeah, let's just go beat Florida.
Hey, Stone Cold. Even though you won't be there, I will personally say this: me, Brandolo, and Drew will drink one for you.
Oh yeah.
Probably more than one. I will say.
I appreciate it. At least somebody's listening.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Your connection's dead.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
not sure what he said.
There he
I'll
goes.
drink.
Get him
I
out.
love you, Stone Cold. I love you.
Shout out to our guests. Shout out to everyone who listened and watched us tonight. And I guess we're going to wrap it up. I am ready. Final thoughts. Get down there. Get down there early. Be loud as hell. Stand the hell up. I don't care what's wrong with you. And be ready to watch the Vols beat Florida's ass. Final statement. Fuck Florida. We're going to be 4-0, top 10 in the country. And I think that's how we all feel. So until next week, maybe, unless we take a week off for bye week.
The one thing is that we do plan on being around G10 at
Yes.
around 11:30 or 12. So
We will
please
put out a tweet. Come meet us. If
we will be
are
tweeting. We'll be
full in
sending
effect.
pictures. We'll let you know exactly where we are. Please come up, say hey, drink a beer with us. That's really about it.
If you ain't there, you're not going to have any of the pumpkin pie moonshine that I will be bringing on Saturday. So
You heard the man.
As
I'm
the
not
great,
sharing my tequila, so you got to bring your own shit.
as
But
the
we'll
great
drink with
Daryl,
we will. You won't be drinking alone on Saturday, but yeah, we'll let y'all know where we are. But come find us.
as the great Daryl Taylor said once, we gonna whip that fucking ass. Florida hate week in full effect. Let's go beat the Gators. Put Billy Napier in a statement and the Cookville native in the ground. Let's just go beat Florida. Go Vols.
All right. That's it for us. Good night. Go Vols.
Good night and go Vols.
So excited.